Hello there. Welcome to Sumit Academy. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel. Do subscribe now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. In this video, we shall talk about the recent Twitter hack and about social engineering. 15 July 2020 was a bad day for the popular social media app Twitter. There was an attack of staggering proportions targeting political, corporate, and cultural elites, promoting a Bitcoin scam that earned its creators hundreds of thousands of dollars. Twitter had to lock down thousands of verified accounts, including those of Joe Biden, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Apple, Uber, and many others. It became clear that hackers had been able to compromise these accounts. So, how did Twitter know about it? Suddenly, these high profile accounts were all tweeting out identical links to a cryptocurrency scam. Have a look at two of such hacked accounts. Despite global attention on the intrusion, which has shaken confidence in Twitter and the security provided by other technology companies, the basic details of who were responsible and how they did it have been a mystery. Officials are still in the early stages of their investigation. The attack was not the work of a single country like Russia or a sophisticated group of hackers. Instead, it soon became evident that it was done by a group of young people who got to know one another because of their obsession with using unusual screen names, particularly one letter or numbers like @y or @6. These people have presented corroborating evidence of their involvement, like the logs from their conversations on Discord, a messaging platform popular with gamers and hackers, and Twitter. Playing a central role in the attack was Kirk, who was taking money in and out of the same Bitcoin address as the day went on, according to an analysis of the Bitcoin transactions by the New York Times. Now, Bitcoin is extremely hard to trace, and the three separate cryptocurrency wallets that the cyber criminals used have already been emptied. The digital money is likely to be split into smaller amounts and run through so-called mixer or tumbler services to make it even harder to trace back to the attackers. One notable exception in the attack was the account of President Donald Trump. The New York Times is now reporting that Trump's account has special protections in place following past incidents, including when a third-party Twitter contractor used internal company tools to deactivate the president's account in 2017. Those protections may have spared Trump's account from being taken over, although it is not clear right now whether the hackers even attempted to assume control of his account. The national and international security implications of the Twitter attack are now becoming frighteningly clear, as hackers could have caused far more serious damage with access to such high profile accounts. In a worst case scenario, this type of hack could have led to false market moving tweets, fake declarations of war, or nuclear attacks, or even misinformation that could change the course of an election, or worse. Twitter revealed that its own internal employee tools were compromised and used in the hack, which may explain why even accounts that claim to have two-factor authentication were still attempting to fool followers with the Bitcoin scam. This was obviously a coordinated social engineering attack by people who successfully targeted some Twitter employees who had access to internal systems and tools. Now, what is social engineering? Well, social engineering is a method hackers use to get confidential information. You may have heard that in the IT system, the weakest link is the user. For example, a company may use great security on its machines, but if a user sets the password to 1234 ABC or some such easy to guess, well, you can't do much about it, and all that security is useless. Similarly, hackers often find it easy to get login details and or get into some machine or system with the help of users instead of breaking the security protocol. Social engineering is the art of manipulating people so that they can give out confidential information that can be used to cause harm to that person or an organization. Confidential information can include passwords, ATM pins, or access to the main control panel in Twitter's recent case. So when you get a call asking for credit card details or an email that seems authentic, which requires you to log in your credentials somewhere, that is some scammers trying to use social engineering. In the case of Twitter, through an unwitting or maybe a willing Twitter employee, the hackers got access to the site's admin panel and then did their work. Social engineering attacks come in many different forms and can be performed anywhere where human interaction is involved. It can take various forms, some of which are phishing, pretexting, baiting, and quid pro quo. The most common form of social engineering attack is phishing. The main aim of phishing scams is to obtain information that is crucial to a person, like names, security pins, addresses, etc. Phishing also uses links to direct users on a landing page where their information can be misused. Other examples of phishing include threats or a sense of urgency. When you get an email from scammers asking you to log into your bank account, that is phishing. Pretexting involves building a false sense of trust with the victim. Scammers usually create scenarios that are so convincing that the victim believes him to give out bits of information. Identity theft is carried out through pretexting. An example of this is a mail like this. Your online activity has been recorded and we have seen all the porn sites that you visit. However, we are your friends and will not want this information to go out in public. We can stop it only if you give us the password of the Netflix account you use, or something similar. Users might get messages like they have won a cash prize or an inheritance from a Nigerian prince, and they could redeem it by logging into the link provided. And believe me, hundreds of people fall for such tricks, as the success of the Twitter hack clearly showed. An example is an email sent to users of an online service that alerts them of a policy violation requiring immediate action on their part, such as a required password change. It includes a link to an illegitimate website, nearly identical in appearance to its legitimate version, prompting the unsuspecting user to enter their current credentials and new password. Upon form submittal, the information is sent to the attacker. As its name implies, baiting attacks use a false promise to pique a victim's greed or curiosity. They lure users into a trap that steals their personal information or inflicts the system with malware. The most common form of baiting uses physical media to disperse malware. For example, attackers leave the bait, typically malware-infected flash drives, in conspicuous areas where potential victims are certain to see them. For examples, bathrooms, elevators, parking lot of a targeted company. The bait has an authentic look to it, such as a label presenting it as the company's payroll list. Victims pick up the bait out of curiosity and insert it into a work or home computer, resulting in automatic malware installation on the system. Baiting scams don't necessarily have to be carried out in the physical world. Online forms of baiting consist of enticing ads that lead to malicious sites or that encourage users to download a malware-infected application. Scareware involves victims being bombarded with false alarms and fictitious threats. Users are deceived to think their system is infected with malware, prompting them to install software that has no real benefit other than for the perpetrator or is malware itself. Scareware is also referred to as deception software, rogue scanner software, and fraudware. A common scareware example is the legitimate looking pop-up banners appearing in your browser while surfing the web, displaying such text as your computer may be infected with harmful spyware programs. It either offers to install the tool, often malware infected, for you or will direct you to a malicious site where your computer becomes infected. Scareware is also distributed via spam email that doles out bogus warnings or makes offers for users to buy worthless or harmful services. In pretexting, an attacker obtains information through a series of cleverly crafted lies. The scam is often initiated by a perpetrator pretending to need sensitive information from a victim so as to perform a critical task. The attacker usually starts by establishing trust with the victims, by impersonating co-workers, police, bank and tax officials, or other persons who have the right to know authority. The pretexter asks questions that are ostensibly required to confirm the victim's identity, through which they gather important personal data. All sorts of pertinent information and records is gathered using this scam, such as Aadhaar numbers, personal addresses and phone numbers, phone records, staff vacation dates, bank records, and even security information related to your workplace. Given that identical or near identical messages are sent to all users in phishing campaigns, detecting and blocking them are much easier for mail servers having access to threat sharing platforms. Spearfishing is a more targeted version of the phishing scam, whereby an attacker chooses specific individuals or enterprises. They then tailor their messages based on characteristics, job positions, and contacts belonging to the victims to make their attack less conspicuous. Spearfishing requires much more effort on behalf of the perpetrator and may take weeks and months to pull off. They are much harder to detect and have better success rates if done skillfully. A spearfishing scenario might involve an attacker who, in impersonating an organization's IT consultant, sends an email to one or more employees. It's worded and signed exactly as the consultant normally does, thereby deceiving recipients into thinking it's an authentic message. The message prompts recipients to change their password and provides them with a link that redirects them to a malicious page where the attacker now captures their credentials. Yes, it's a big bad world out there, and each of us needs to be extra careful when online. Do not let anyone compromise you or your information, for in most cases, you are the only channel through which they may launch a catastrophic cyber attack, as could so easily have been done through the Twitter hack. Well, that's all from me in this video. This video is based on the information freely available on the internet. No originality is claimed for the same. I express my gratitude to all the media, cyber and legal websites for the information carried by them. The intention of this video is only to prepare candidates for answering examination questions on the subject. Do like this video and do subscribe to my channel now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. Till later then, cheerio.